can you still see the presentation?
Yes.
Okay.
Hello, welcome back, everybody. Now we're gonna have a talk from our colleague from KDE, Camilo Higuita. He's from Colombia, the land of arepas. Camilo is gonna present his talk in English. So Camilo, he's going to talk about convergence with Qt, and he's going to speak about the Maui project. And Camilo is interested in arts, graphic design, programming languages, and open source. He is also graduated from liberal arts and currently finishing his bachelor's degree in computer science. Camilo is, as I said before, active in KDE for a few years and works for Nitrux. So, welcome, Camilo. Thank you so much for joining us right now. So,
Hi. So I'll start now.
yes.
Okay, so I'm going to be talking about convergence because of the Maui project. It's a project that I've been working on for almost 2 years now. So I will skip this because you already introduced me. So to start, I would like to share some of the common definitions that convergence has already. For example, purism defines convergence as a single portable computer that has your data, and applications that can be a desktop computer, a laptop, or a pocket computer. So here the most relevant terms will be to have the data and the applications on your different type of computers, from phones to tablets to desktop computers. This is a definition that Ubuntu has. They have these items that define what convergence is in desktop computers. So the two that I want to stand out is that it's convergence when it's built from a single code base for all the target systems and architectures. And the second one is that is dynamically adapts to the presence or absence of input and output hardware, including but not limited to physical keyboards, mouses, touch screens, and external displays such as monitors or projectors. So while you keep that in mind, I will tell you what the Maui Project is. The Maui Project is a group of applications, services, libraries, and a user interface framework that work with KDE libraries and is aiming to create a convergent multi-platform experience. So I will show you a super quick video to introduce you to what Maui Project is, and then I can continue about the subject. So here, as the definition of convergence by Purism and Ubuntu, the applications are running not only different device forms, platforms. So this is the case. Here is running on Android. And by running on Android, we have to take care of the input methods that will be like a touch screen versus a mouse or a keyboard that will be in the case of a desktop computer. So for the Maui project, we have over 10 applications and Mauiki, that is the UI framework that we use to create the applications that provides with basic controls that already have convergence in its core, like for example, item delegates, types of views like a grid view or a list view, and all the kind of UI components. And also system integration with platforms that we support, like system integration with Android, Windows, and Mac OS, besides Linux. Okay. So the 2 points I want to go over about convergence for us in our project is to talk a little about what responsive UI or responsive user interface, and the convergent UX or convergent user experience. So I'll start with the issues that we face on convergence with user interface and how we need the interface to be responsive. So Mauiki introduces responsive layouts. That will be the case, for example, when you are in a wide screen that has much available space, you will have like items layout in a grid, which can be bigger. And when the space is constrained, such a layout should be transformed into a list view that is more optimized for the space. Also, this responsive UI has to do with optimal targeting. It has to do with spacing, margins, and padding. So the inputs are different, so it is much more precise to use a mouse to target an item than it is with a finger, or than it is with a remote control in a TV setup. So those are things that we are also taking care of with Mauiki in our project. And the other part is the compact design, and it has to do with trying to make the interface as simple as possible without too much clutter. So it is more easy and quickly to navigate. And yeah, yeah. So this is some of the applications running on Linux. Here I want to demo the things I was mentioned before about the padding, spacing, and the compact design, even though it seems busy. This is a quick video that shows the responsive layouts. This is using Mauiki templates for the views. So here the grid view will turn into a list view using the same delegates. So on constrained space, the grid will turn into a list view. So as in the definition that Ubuntu has about convergence, this kind of stuff should happen dynamically. And now about the user experience for the convergence, that is, I think, the most important part and crucial part. These are some of the items we're working on. So one of them is the responsive input actions that has to do with whether the user is interacting with the interface through a physical keyboard or a mouse or a touch screen or a stylus or a TV remote control. The interface should respond to such inputs, and that affects the experience the user has. The other one is the translation of the known or new metaphors. So we need to watch out for keeping consistency. For example, if on a desktop with a cursor, with a mouse, you do a click, then it will translate on a touch screen with a tap. Same with a mouse scroll, than with a swipe, and how a multi-selection works on on a setup that you have a physical keyboard and a mouse versus a setup where you only have a touch screen, or if you have a touch screen and at the same time you have a physical keyboard and a mouse attached, and zooming and pinching for zooming the items. So these are few of the examples where we have to create these new metaphors or creating these relations from what is known in the mobile and apply it to the desktop or the other way around. And the last item, and very important, is the data syncing, because if you have an application that's running on Android and also will run on Windows or Linux, you will want to have the data that you're using in one to be available in the other platform. So I want to show you now a quick demo video of a translation of a known metaphor. And in this case, it will be about doing multi-selection. In this case, it will be doing it with a keyboard or a mouse and doing it with a touch screen. Okay, well, here what I'm showing is that, for example, on a desktop, you will have the right click to do the contextual menu, or just drag and drop to just a drag to do the drag and drop. While on touch is more difficult because you don't have like a right click, so you will have to do the translation of a right click to be a long press. So you need also a lot of feedback for the user to know what's going on. In this case, the translation that we have introduced is that a long press and a release will be a right click. So also the Maui project is aiming to be multi-platform, so it can be run on Android, Windows, macOS, and Linux. So this is introduces problems or issues about cross-compiling to different architectures, platforms, using different build systems, and also about integrating the applications to the host system. So for example, if you have Empress support in Linux, you will have, for a music player, you will want the same thing for Android. So those are the things that Mauiki is trying to do, to provide for the applications. Here in this screenshot, you can see the same application. In this case, is a image viewer running here from left to right on Windows, on Linux, and on an Android phone. Besides being multi-platform, we're also aiming for targeting different form factors. Right now, we only target phones, tablets, laptops, and desktop PCs. We don't target watches or TVs, but those are other of the few challenges that Convergence introduces, like being able to adapt an interface that will run on a TV that have huge screens to a watch that have like a super tiny screens. So it introduces a lot of challenges. These challenges, as I mentioned before, have to do also with the base input of the device where the application is being used or deployed, such as if it is touch, if it is using a mouse, if it is using a voice to control the interface, a stylus, or a keyboard, physical or not. Here I'm going to show you the multi-selection that I was talking before. How will be the translation from a touch screen to a desktop with a mouse. So here is with a, here you see it with a Let me put it slower. Okay. What I want to show and didn't show right was in a desktop you have like a regular lasso selection where you have like this press in an empty area, and you drag the rectangle that shows, and then the items that are under this rectangle get selected. This versus what we do in a touch screen where you just enter a, I don't know if this is going to be the right video. Okay, I don't have it here. I have been mistaken. So, I will describe what it is. On a touch, what you have, you enter a selection mode, and you just hover with your finger over the items that you want to be selected. So you are not doing a lasso selection as in the desktop. So to solve these problems, what we are taking advantage of and using are, for example, the KDE libraries like Kirigami and the KDE Frameworks 5 libraries, because these libraries are cross-platforms. So for example, you have to deploy on macOS, you have Homebrew project. On Android, you have the Android Docker with all the build binaries. And on Windows, you have the Craft KDE project. So this makes it easier for us to use powerful libraries that are cross-platform. And besides, KDE also provides with the cross-compiling infrastructure. So you only need to have some manifest, and the source code will build to different architectures and different platforms. For the data syncing, we're using Nexcloud, which provides with a bunch of applications that are already available, and most of them have a public API that can be consumed by the application. Right now, the Maui applications make use of two APIs, one for syncing notes in the application named Buo, and the other one is for syncing and streaming music in the application called Wave. So some of the benefits, as already mentioned, is there are a bunch of applications already available. You get with most of them a public API, and they are free, as in free software. And last, and the most important is, with the help of Qt, we have been able to achieve this by using Qt controls 2 that help a lot with all this handling of input and trying to fix these issues with translating metaphors from touch to mouse to keyboard, and to have these responsive templates and layouts. And besides all of that, Qt is also cross-platform, so we have been able to do what we have been doing thanks to it. So some of the plans and roadmap we have as a project for the next year is to move fully to CMake. That, as I mentioned a few slides back, we have been using about build systems for each different platform. We have been using still QMake to deploy to other platforms. So we want to move fully to CMake. We want to add I/O support. So we are covering most of the most popular operating systems. We also want to extend our data syncing using Nexcloud. So we want to introduce syncing with the image gallery. and files with index our file manager. We're working on making the applications more to perform better on low-end devices, and to keep working on the UI and UX for a more cohesive look and feel across all the platforms. So we keep on trying and testing these metaphors, and, and trying new things and improving on them. We have also some applications that are in a better state. We are trying to cover all the core functionality that environment should have. And lastly, we are working on having a more stable documentation so people can start using our framework and the stuff that we have been working on. And that's it.
Thank you, Camilo. Gracias. So let's see if we have questions. Vocês podem fazer as perguntas em português, espanhol or English. So Nuno has a question. What about components that rely on interaction paradigms on one platform without an equivalent on another, like your example multiple item selection?
Let me give me two. I have the video here, so I will show you what we have done because I was not able to show it. I mean, if there's like a, a metaphor that we cannot translate, maybe we'll try to find a workaround, but we have not come to that yet. So, for example, the selection. Okay. Let me share the. Okay, can you now see the screen? So here,
Yes, great.
yeah.
Sandro? Okay.
Okay, so I will show you the video here. This is a multi-selection on a touch-based Linux laptop. So as you see, it's in selection mode and just dragging the passing your finger over the content, it just creating the selection. Same with the list view. If you go to the left corner, you just drag your finger and just creates the selection. So this is like a translation of a metaphor from lasso selection to this kind of selection. Yeah, so that will be my answer.
Okay. So Andreas K is asking, you say move from beta to stable. When is it planned to have your staff at the distributions and available on all OSs?
We have been going through KDE review. So for the next stable release, that will be 1.2. We expect to have Mauiki and index ready for KDE review. That will mean that those two will be available for major distributions that chip with KDE stuff like Plasma. We are already chip. We are already providing with app images, APKs, and Windows installers in the official Mauiki page. So yeah, so maybe things will be getting more organized by the upcoming year. And yeah, and maybe the APKs will be in the Joy App Droid store or the App Store or the Play Store. So we don't know yet.
More questions? No. We might be a little delay here. Let me see. Yeah, I think that's all.
Okay.
So thank you so much, Camilo.
Yeah, you're
It's
welcome.
nice to have you here. Thank you for your participation.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you, everyone. Now we're gonna go to the next room. We're gonna have, let's see, Caio Carvalho presenting about análise de dados. So, bye.
Bye.